I love the smell of aging whiskey in the morning.
But before it's aged in barrels and hits your glass, whiskey starts life as a crystal clear new make spirit. So what is the secret to great new make? More to the point, what's the secret to this distillery's award-winning new make? Teetering on the rocky western coast of Hokkaido's Rishiri Island, facing the Sea of Japan, the Rishiri Distillery is Japan's northernmost single malt supercraft whiskey producer. Join me on this remote, wild, windswept volcanic island at the Rishiri Distillery, birthplace of Kamui Genshu, as I go through all things new make, getting right to the heart of the hearts with founder Casey Wahl and master distiller Javier Negrete.
As you see, this is wind blasted and beautiful. There's a romance here speaking to you if you listen. But how can we put this into the bottle?
Production began in autumn 2022, and in 2026, the distillery aims to produce approximately 17,000 litres. The new make spirit, Kamui Genshu, has won multiple awards. At first, bronze medals, but more impressively, gold, at the 2025 International Wine and Spirit Competition, with 95 points, the only winning unaged spirit in the room. And Unaged Whiskey of the Year at the 2026 London Spirits Competition, scoring 93 points of the year, is awarded to a single expression per category from a global field. But first, let's break down how it's made. High-quality new make is a product of judiciously selected ingredients, precise milling and grist ratios, well-managed fermentation, distillation setup and pot still style, cut points, and the distiller's intuition and experience. In Rishiri Distillery's origin story, location came first, and with that, its delicious water. The local water source is Reho Yusui. After decades filtering through the ancient volcanic rock of Mount Rishiri, rain and snowmelt spring to the surface as mineral-rich, sweet-tasting water that happens to be the perfect pH for making whiskey. Woo! When excavating the site, Casey discovered another water source, which he dubs Kamui Spring. Surely a ringing endorsement from Mother Nature. While Casey and Javier ponder other ingredients for the mash bill, next up is bespoke distillation equipment. Vendome Copper and Brass Works, a family business since 1903, based in Louisville, Kentucky, produced 2 long-necked copper stills, worm tubs, and a unique spirit safe, which arrive, rather appropriately, on the 4th of July 2022.
And they're just beautiful stills with really long neck. We didn't plan for how heavy the stills were. Like, here's $100,000 of equipment that's on a creaky crane with just ropes and towels put together, and he's climbing on a big central beam to put like a kind of bracing rope on there. So
absolutely amazing story.
This extended neck design on the pot still allows a condensing process that captures vital esters and aldehydes, enhancing the spirit's flavor and complexity.
Instead of a spirit box, we have one that is called safe box. 100 years ago in America, the taxation department put a lock on it, so no one can touch the alcohol, so no one can steal alcohol from the distillery. So this is unique, and also the use of worm tubs. I don't know if there are any other distillery in Japan that using worm tubs in both of the pot still. We're trying to get more flavor from the pot still, and of course, this is like how I learned, like kind of moonshine style.
There are mainly 2 types of condensers, worm tubs or shell and tube. Worm tubs have a long, worm-like copper pipe submerged in cold water, used to condense whiskey vapor back into liquid. Distillers can control the rate of the cooling process and the degree of copper contact to achieve the desired flavor profile. Worm tubs tend to yield a spirit with richer, more robust flavors compared to shell and tube condensers. As the distillery was taking shape, Javier and Casey traveled far and wide around Hokkaido, looking for the malt that would embody the terroir they wanted in the bottle. They landed on Nakashibetsu grain, grown in eastern Hokkaido, malted by the team at Nakashibetsu Craft Malting Japan. Javier formulated a core new make recipe using 4 malted barleys: non-peated whole spring malt, lightly peated malt, and chocolate malt, all from the UK, and local Nakashibetsu Hokkaido malt. Before it's milled, the grain is touched by other forces of nature. On Rishiri Island, the wind is powerful and relentless, most days gusting at speeds of 40 to 80 kilometers per hour, strong enough to feed smart crows waiting downwind. The malted barley gets pummeled by these ocean winds, laden with salt and the umami essence of kombu, Japanese kelp, drying in fields right next door to the distillery. As for the yeast, it's a blend of an M strain and another strain that can handle high summer temperatures. But Casey, being Casey, has bigger dreams for that too.
I want to get yeast from the island. So this is kind of my geeky dream. I want Rishiri Island yeast. I've already spoken to a couple of kind of yeast, producers who grow it. And if we can get some that get into the mountain, put this into our mash bill, these are the things that are exciting.
Yeast otaku. That's what I'm talking about. Milling is a critical step. Distillers talk about the perfect crush to get a balanced, consistent, high-performing mash, the 70-20-10 ratio. 70% grits, 20% husk, 10% flour, or slight variations thereof. Dialing in this ratio optimizes the conversion of starch to sugar, which makes a huge difference to the spirit yield. A well-sized grit contains enzymes and starch to hydrate well at the correct temperature. The husk forms a filter bed for efficient wort separation and optimal runoff. Crucially, the right amount of flour sustains the correct temperature for conversion to happen. During fermentation, climate and ambient temperature play a key role. Too hot or too cold, and your wort goes kaput. Rishiri Distillery only operates from mid-March to mid-December. Even in March, the Rishiri weather can be absolutely brutal. But I'm here on a fine spring day at the end of May. High 10s, but it's still pretty chilly when that wind blows. I'm with my malt mate, and barrel co-owner Armando. And we're about to experience the art of the cut firsthand. Javier has been monitoring the second run and making the cuts, separating the distillate into 3 parts: heads, hearts, and tails. Heads are the initial high alcohol output containing toxic methanol and other impurities. Hearts are the purest, most flavorful part of the run collected for bottling or barreling. Tails are the final, undesirable liquid containing heavy, oily compounds.
Smell here.
Ooh.
Very different.
That is very different.
Yeah, you have the heads inside already, so that's super punchy. Yeah, it smells bad.
Smells like food.
When I told you that you have to use your senses because you looked at and it has some particles inside, you say, this is not meant to be drink, of course. If you drink that, what is a high content in methanol, you get temporary blindness, right? The only way to cure this overdose of methanol is drinking ethanol, of course. Oh. That's convenient. The methanol is, we start super high and then it drop immediately to the minimum. You actually need to make chemical analysis how much methanol is per liter. That's super important. And with the cask, we are completely sure that there's the minimum amount, of course.
Now, without further ado,
all right, guys.
To the good stuff.
This is the hearts.
Javier gives us a taste of some hearts from the heart tank so that we can compare that to liquid that's coming off today's second run.
Very fruity.
Extremely.
What do you think?
I usually try to make a super slow run on the heart, so have a gentle, smooth spirit at the end.
Yeah.
So I'm I really like it. I think it's gonna be a super good whiskey. One of my main goals, I would say, is try to have the grain, still some of the grain flavor on the spirit, hopefully on the whiskey, Because I'm from Chile. For me, the terroir is everything.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you see that in the wine, of course. How do you differentiate Chilean wine from French wine, Italian
Chilean
wine?
Chilean pisco. So for me, terroir is super important, right? So, of course, doing the mashing with the water from Reijo, the spring, it's amazing. Actually, the water is on the correct pH. I don't need to take it down or higher the pH. It's on the sweet spot for us. I think that will create a nice terroir.
That is punchy. When you try something like this, you realize why we age whiskey. Armando.
Let's see. Spicy. It's a very good idea that I had breakfast today. Just right before this.
Absolutely. Seiko Mart special.
Katsusando. Smooth and fruity. Normally you get like a big punch in the face of new make and alcohol, but this is, you don't even feel the alcohol.
It is surprisingly smooth, actually, considering. A lot of new make, when I'm trying to assess it, you know, we're trying to think basically, will this make good whiskey? You obviously think this is good, you made it. What is it that makes you think this is good new make compared to other bad new make you may have tried?
So I will say, what I really like about this is that, as Armando said, it doesn't kick you, give you a punch at the beginning.
Right.
This whiskey will appeal to a broader spectrum of consumers. It's not only for like connoisseurs or nerds, but what I'm really like about this is that I can still feel the mash bill. That's super important for me. Like, I can feel the Hokkaido malt, that it has this cereal biscuit smell on it. It's thanks to the Nakishibetsu grains. I can feel the earthy, that's some earthy. It came from the chocolate malt that we use. So I will say it will develop some layers of complexity, very simple. I really like the idea of that you can feel the terroir, the grains from the beginning until it's aged.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you guys use 4 different malts.
The main part of the mash is the non-peated, the whole spring malt. You don't know from which part of Scotland they get the spring malt, right? So they just mix it and have pretty much a plain flavor.
Right.
So that's why I'm on the pursuit of this mash bill. Let's go for a unique profile, something exciting that will match super good with used bourbon barrels.
I'm just going to put some of the heart back in the heart tank.
So this is pretty much the same than an alcohol meter. It's digital, so it can correct the temperature immediately. We also have the classic proof and trails, but for efficiency, we use this now every day to make the cut lie closer. And you can see that it's super precise. I see your face of challenge. I have to record or I have to taste it?
Tell me a bit about what point are we at now?
We're about 68 ABV.
So that's telling us that this is 68.51% ABV, temperature of around 17, dropping a little bit.
We usually cut at 65. It will depend a lot of what happened during the fermentation, of course.
Okay.
Now it's super hot inside, so fermentations start to be maybe at the limit of the temperature range that we want.
Okay.
So that may probably affect a little bit what is happening between hearts and tails.
Yeah.
Right? But I think we're super good now. Still good, yeah?
A little bit less fruity.
Yes. At some moment we're going to start to feel like metal, like, you know, we start to feel like the stainless steel, but it's not stainless steel, of course. But there's a limit for me that I really like the smell of leather, and that's between the hearts on the tail. There's some part that it will evoke some old leather jacket smell on the whiskey. It's on the very end of the hearts. So there's a limit that we want on our whiskey, yes, of course. But I mean, it's 68. It doesn't give you a punch in the face.
But definitely, even though it hasn't been long, we've actually had a big transformation of flavor. A bit more spiciness with this one, a little bit harsher, you know, a little bit less easy to drink.
Yeah, absolutely. They start to be really hard now.
A little bit more cereal. I can see some of the cereal notes that we were talking about. I can feel them a little bit more versus some of the fruitiness that was there earlier.
Yeah. I would say that's part of the nakishibetsu on the chocolate. It will give they are coming in this moment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's called chocolate malt. It doesn't have the flavor of chocolate. It's just it has a longer malting process.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like more on the coffee side of the flavor.
Yeah.
And I think now it's a little bit warmer, so it's developing more unique.
Yeah. Ooh.
See, it's a little bit warmer, so the alcohol vapor can evolve.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely feel that in the nose.
So now what I'm looking for is searching is there any too strange change on the profile of the whiskey? But we are at 68, so we are on the good part of on the hearts. 4 shots, hearts, and then tails. So for me, the tails has to run super smoothly, and you can see how slow it's going. It's going super slowly, so we can have this kind of smoothness on the profile flavors of the whiskey. I love whiskey, but I don't like when you can feel burnt whiskey. Like coffee, when you have like a burnt coffee roast, it's like, oh man, no. Yeah, it's completely different. This is like at 14 Celsius, and that's already with our hands, more like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, right?
How often are you distilling?
We did the second distillation 5 times per week.
Okay.
It's super good that we have at the same time the pot still on, because they're heated with steam. So the steam goes there, then come back to the piping, come to this one instead of bypassing. So we are kind of saving energy also, of course.
So you're distilling 5 times a week?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and most of them are done by me. It's part of my responsibility of ambition that my junior distiller learned to do this very often. Yeah, I need a backup for my holidays, or if I get sick, or if you get sick, you know.
I love that. I love that. Very magnanimous. Like, it's important to have the strength and depth in the organization. Javier just wants to go on holiday. But that's the point, right? You want to build. I mean, we're not just building, you know, a few barrels of whiskey here. You and Casey want this to be an ongoing legacy.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
What ABV are we up to now?
67.9. So at this moment, of course, you trust the Anton part, but also you need to trust in your senses. The timing that we start, on your nose. In this moment is where it's called knowledge of the distiller. Everything came here. That we're doing sampling, because at the end, every fermentation is different from the other ones. It could be one that has 7.7, 8 ABV. It gets too hot, so it will definitely change the flavor, right?
Any tips or tricks to ensure consistency, right? You're waking up someday, your nose may be more sensitive to sweeter aromas. Anything that you're doing to get into a mentality where you're able to have a consistent assessment of your product? Difficult question, I know.
No, but there's some simples for me that I stopped smoking, and usually I don't have spicy food because that like numb my nose. Of course, it's also physical job this. You need to be focused, and then the timing also. So I will say it's not only numbers, it's also like use your senses. I'm not saying this is art, of course not. We are not artists, but we are making something craft. Your senses, your knowledge, the timing. For me, the listening of the equipment is super important. Like you will know immediately when there's a problem with a steam pipe or whatever. Positive thinking, of course. Yeah.
This is fantastic because absolutely people don't appreciate the physicality of the job.
Yes.
You're moving barrels around, right? Those things are quite heavy.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that you're keeping yourself in shape.
And I would say it's also part of being a positive leader with my team member. That what is a head distiller is the guy who can pretty much do everything inside of the distillery. I have to be here always. Yeah, of course.
Fantastic.
I think we're super close the cut. Okay, so now it's time to make the cut because you will start to feel like some off flavors from our whiskey profile. Of course, you're gonna have like a off flavors. Yeah, this is like 64.8.
So Javier has just handed this to me. He's thinking we're at, or at least very close to the cut point. Yeah, this is a lot less fruity than earlier. Even some of that layering from the malts we talked about, like those cereal notes, starting to disappear actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Is that basically, this is the cut point, right?
Yeah, that phase, that when you make the
Almost bitterness there now.
Yeah, I start the bitterness.
Yeah, you lose the cereal points.
Yeah, losing the cereal points, losing the fruitiness.
Tails are super important for flavor, but if you pretend to age for at least 8 years. So inside the barrel, these Savages tails could be handled tame inside the barrel. Since we're a startup, most of our barrel gonna be empty out in 3-4 years. So I think for now, our cut is super narrow, thinking on that idea, that it's has to be ready, balanced in 3-4 years.
Cut point.
Time to cut.
Cutto.
It is indeed something very special. Bottled, this new make spirit is called Kamui Genshu and it's in high demand.
If you're a long-term Kanpai Planet fan, you may recognize that phrase.
Next time, join me and Casey as we taste Rishiri Distillery's new make, 2024 vintage.
Until next time, Kanpai.
Come back.